You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona. With me always are my good friends.
Jay from the hills of Texas.
And AK Mike in Texas.
Well, we're back this week with continuing our interviews at the 3D Huckfest with Mike.
Yeah. It's been good. I mean, I had a great time and, talked to a bunch of people. And, I think when you guys hear the interviews and listen to the different things that these guys have to say, you're really going to get a sense of, the quality and the kind of, level of expertise that was here at the show. I didn't get to interview everybody. I ran out of time. I think I covered a good portion of the folks that were flying and the stuff that basically I watched as like, oh, that was cool. I'm going to interview that guy.
Right.
So,
well, I think you got a good cross section, and from what I've already heard some of the interviews, but what I've heard, there's some good talent out there. So, how about we head out to the field and check it out?
Let's do it. And welcome back. I am sitting in the car with Glenn Gifford. Now, Harold, the president of the RRCC, told me that you're running a program, and I don't remember the exact name of it, so I don't want to mess it up. What's the name of the program that you're running?
So it's a program that's put together with EAA in partnership with AMA.
This is an AMA program. Right. Did they generate this program?
It's a joint venture or a joint partnership. EAA, Experimental Aircraft Association.
Okay.
So full-scale aircraft.
Okay.
Was looking for ways with their Young Eagle program to introduce younger kids into aviation and keep them engaged in the under 16 age group.
Okay.
So that before they'd be ready to fly full-scale aircraft.
Okay.
So
this is like ground school, and
it's not. It's an element of ground school. It's more about getting the kids hands-on, engaged, learning about aircraft.
Do the kids get to get into aircraft?
So we will take them flying in full-scale aircraft, but they actually are given a kit and they build it from the ground up with the guys from AMA, and in this case, the guys from Richardson Radiocraft.
So you're talking about they get a RC kit?
They get an RC kit.
Oh, nice.
Fully sponsored, comes with all the tools, all the controls, everything that they possibly need. And
so it's not really an ARF, though?
No.
Like an already
it's
fly
not
one.
ready to fly, no. It's built from scratch.
So we're talking monocoque and everything? And sticks? Or are we talking about just, put the wings together kind of a thing?
No, it's sticks, right? So,
holy crap.
So it's, I think it's a Cadet 71 or something like that, I think it's called.
Okay.
And so in partnership with the Richardson Club.
Yeah.
So the Richardson Club brings the expertise of how to build and fly the RC.
There's a lot of good builders in our
right?
club.
There are a lot of great builders.
Yep.
And they work with the kids on Saturdays in one of the hangars up in McKinney Airport. And they build it, right? And so they're in the process of building it now. Then they'll eventually fly it.
So this is just one plane for this group of kids?
That's how it starts.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so now we're in conversations with EAA to get additional aircraft to keep the program going.
Oh.
Right, and expand it beyond. Right. So it's an extension of the EAA Young Eagles program.
Okay.
Which is all about getting kids into aviation.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
so
and that's evidently a big deal right now.
It is a big deal. If you think about the demand that's out there for pilots. In fact, I was having a conversation as part of the Young Eagles program. We do Young Eagles Rally, and we take kids flying. Right. So we had to cancel it today, but it was scheduled for flying 40 kids this morning. So we take 40 kids out flying in an aircraft, and it introduces them.
Too windy is why you canceled it?
It was low clouds.
Low clouds, okay.
When we started. So, and then so they do that, and then in concert with that, we want to get the younger kids engaged longer. And so that's where this was kind of a bridge, if you will.
Yeah.
So they'll learn how to build it. They'll learn a little bit about aerodynamics.
Right.
They'll learn more about what the pieces are. They'll come out here, they'll fly RC, and hopefully they'll be able to get them into the full-scale aircraft.
Okay. Well, as an adult, I feel cheated because I didn't know about that stuff. I'm sure it probably existed at the time that I was young enough to do that kind of thing, but I feel cheated because
That's really cool.
It is very cool. I mean, particularly the kids, when you see the kids, whether they're doing Young Eagles or whether they're doing the Build program, it's just, they're very, very interested and very, very eager. Right? And it's, I mean, every kid's different. You know, some they don't latch on. Some of them, like, they're all in.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, some of the kids, particularly in the Young Eagles program, you know, they're headed down a career of aviation, either with the military or with professional commercial airlines. And this is just another avenue to get the engagement, because a lot of times at Young Eagles, you can be 8 years old and start the Young Eagles program.
Yeah.
That's they can barely see over the panel.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So, but if we have programs like this, it allows them to stay engaged.
Yeah.
Right. And they are a part of an aviation. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd love to fly RC.
Yeah, right.
But you didn't always have an opportunity, certainly like this.
Yeah.
Right? And this is an incredible opportunity for the kids.
Well, so tell me a little bit about your RC, your particular RC stuff. I'm really interested to hear. Like, what kind of stuff did you fly?
Oh man, I was.
I don't want to give away your age.
No, that's okay. I mean,
you're only 30, but still, you don't want to tell people that.
So I've always been interested in aviation. It's always been something in the back of my head. You know, when I was a little kid, I don't even know what it was. It was like a Cox, I think it was.
Oh yeah,
Cox aircraft
on a
24 foot string.
Like the yellow and blue one.
The ones you kind of go around in a circle on the end of a string,
line.
right?
Yeah.
On a control line. So that's where I started.
Was it one of them yellow and blue ones?
It was. I think it was red, actually.
Red, okay.
Yeah, I think it was red, right? And, you know, we had a blast with that thing, right? And then I never did it for a long time. And then I started to get interested in aviation, particularly I was living near Addison Airport.
Oh.
And then I started to get into aviation. And I said, you know what, I want to try RC, but I want to try helicopters.
Okay.
All right, so a few years ago, bought the helicopter. It was like from, I forget the company that sells it, one of the big ones. It was something 500, I forget what it was. But it was like maybe a 36-inch.
Sure. I'm familiar with the size you're talking about, yeah.
And I tried flying it. Oh, no, actually, I started with a smaller one first. Right?
Okay.
A smaller one was about half that size, right?
Like a blade
little
or whatever.
A little blade, yeah. And I was doing okay with that, right? And I thought, well, let me upgrade. So I did this thing with the 500. Man, that thing, I tried everything, and I finally gave up when I landed it in the pool.
Okay.
Right? And I figured, okay, this one's going to be too many parts to repair, right? And it's been sitting on my shelf since then. But I've always been interested in it, right? I built models when I was a kid, so I like to build the stuff.
That's always fun, right?
I've always been involved or been interested in aviation to the point where, 8 years ago, I finally got my pilot's license.
Yeah.
And so now I fly
real planes.
Now I fly full scale airplanes for
That's
fun.
sweet.
Right.
That's
right.
sweet.
So, but I joined. I took over as the president of EAA a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And really trying to build the youth program up.
So that's EAA of Texas, basically.
Well, so it's EAA just for McKinney area.
Yeah, McKinney.
Right? So EAA, again, is a national organization.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oshkosh,
I was trying to figure out like how big is it of this.
So it's a chapter.
It's
so
a chapter.
it's the
like
McKinney.
A regional.
It's the McKinney chapter.
Okay.
There's chapters. There's a couple chapters in the area, Greenville and downtown and stuff like that. And so we're just one chapter.
Okay.
But I really trying to reinvigorate the youth program.
Yeah,
so
good. I'm really happy to hear that.
We restarted the Young Eagle program. And then when I was talking to EAA National, they found out what we were doing, and they asked us to be one of the pilot programs for this build.
Okay.
So we were one of the original chapters to do the build of the RC program.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, so we're kind of setting the model, if you will, or helping set the model.
That's great.
And then they're going to extend it beyond all the other chapters across the U.S.
Well, I'm really happy to be a member of the RRCC because I've seen some of this stuff and. When I just joined a year ago, and I really wanted to get involved, but I live in the wrong spot to really help out. To be
right.
and I work at the times where you guys are doing stuff, so I couldn't really be a part of it. But I think it's a great program. I'm really glad you guys are doing it. And
that's a great.
I know the kids.
It's a really good program.
The kids are really benefiting from what you guys are.
I think so. I think they're learning lots of different skills they wouldn't otherwise know.
Yeah.
The whole idea is, particularly with aviation. How do you take that into your life skills?
Yeah, sure.
Right? Because everything around decision making, risk management, all those things indirectly come into play.
Right.
And you're learning that even when you're flying RC. You're learning risk management. You're learning decision making, right?
I like that you said that. That's good because I think risk management is probably one of the things in life that people don't focus on too much.
Right.
And as you come into this hobby, especially, risk becomes a little more in your face.
Right.
Yeah, we joke around, safety third. That's what it's as a joke, obviously, because safety first is really
safety
kind of
first.
important. Yeah, it's really important.
I mean, the cool thing here is you can do all the aerobatic stuff, and if you have a bad landing, you know,
it's really going to be bad.
Okay, you damaged your aircraft, but you walked away from it.
Yeah.
If I do it in my plane, it's not going to be a really good day.
Well, you don't know Arizona Mike. He's a full-scale pilot himself. In fact, he's here in Dallas getting some training on a new plane, and he also owns his own planes. He flies acrobatics and has done a bunch of things. So you get a chance to listen to the podcast yourself, which I'm sure you will. You'll hear a little bit about what he has.
Very cool.
Anyway, I appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything that you like? If there is one thing you wanted to share with, we have a pretty wide. Actually, it's a worldwide audience.
Okay.
If there's anything that you wanted to share with any newcomer into the RC hobby, what would you say?
You know, I think it's interesting. Again, I haven't been involved with our RCC until this program, right? But I think even if I look at general aviation, and I even just look at the field here today, we somehow got to get the kids engaged.
Yeah.
And so how can we do that and kids engaged in an economical manner and get their heads out of the computer screen?
Sure.
Right, because there's so much in the computer screen.
And then we tell them to go back to the computer screen to do some simulating flying. But aside from that,
the simulator is like a game for them, right? It's very cool, but it's teaching them something, right? They're actually learning something.
True, that's true.
You know, it's not a shoot 'em up game.
That's true.
And we got to get them backed out and doing tactile things.
Yep.
And so, how do we engage the
build, design,
get the build, design, understand the aerodynamics and all that kind of stuff?
Cool.
How do we get them back engaged? That's really a big question, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, great, Mr. Griffith. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Happy to have the conversation. Thank you.
Talk to you later. All right, and we're back, and I'm sitting here with Jonathan. I didn't get your last name.
Chapeau.
Chapeau. Nice to meet you. And so, I heard from somebody that you're not from around here.
No, I'm from Oklahoma City.
So how big of a drive is that?
It was about 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours. So, you guys come last night, or did you come this morning?
We came this morning.
Well, yeah, because it was raining yesterday, so like, why come?
Exactly.
Well, so are you here with your son or brother?
I'm with my dad and my brother.
And your dad and your brother, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of cool.
Yep.
I saw you flying. You do pretty good. Are you ranked? I don't know.
No. I do fly IMAC in the southern region.
In the southern region?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In a southern region of Oklahoma City, or a southern region?
Southern. I think it's
like I don't know. I don't know much about IMAC in that regard.
I think it's around the southern central area.
Okay.
So.
All right. Cool.
Yep.
And so you've been flying a long time.
4 years.
4?
Yep.
What got you interested?
Ever since I was a kid, I remember looking up at the sky at airplanes, and when I was about 5 or 6, my oldest brother got into RC airplanes.
Okay.
And I wasn't old enough to do it at the time. And then about 2 years later, he moved out, and so I kind of always had it back in my mind, but I didn't have the money to do it. And then when I was 13, I came across a flight test.
Oh, okay.
And started building airplanes.
Oh, good.
And flew those, and those were super cheap. And that's what got me all started.
Yeah, that's and so basically electrics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, good deal. What was your favorite plane at the time?
I honestly don't remember. I think one of my first planes I flew was an FT3D.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
Not really.
I mean,
it's not a good trainer.
Well, yeah, that's true, but I liked it as a plane, I guess.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what people do, right? Yep. Like, where's the fastest plane or the coolest looking plane? I'm going to fly that first. Like, you don't know what you're doing when you're going to crash that. But,
exactly.
But that's so your whole family does this then?
No. My oldest brother, he got married and he doesn't do it anymore.
Life is happening.
So
to him,
just life.
Yeah.
And so me and my little brother picked it up, and we've been doing it for about 4 years.
And I think I saw your little brother had
he flies
FPV.
Mm-hmm, he's getting into the racing drones. Mainly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. So they're gonna let him fly around here, or?
I think so. I don't know. He wants to chase my plane, so we'll see how that happens.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So you just staying for today, or are you gonna stay through Sunday?
I think we're gonna spend the night and come back tomorrow.
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good to hear. So, so you're pretty much a beginner pilot, but I mean, I watched you fly, so you're not really that much of a beginner. But like, you haven't competed yet, or have you?
I've competed a little bit in really small competitions.
Okay.
But nothing on the upper scale.
Have you ranked yourself in any of the small competitions?
Usually I place first, but there's not really any competition. I'm usually there's
like
only
it's like
two
a
or
club
three
thing, and I see.
Yeah.
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Oh, but still, I mean, it's first. It counts.
Exactly.
It counts. So, do you feel like you're going to go to bigger levels here?
I'm hoping.
What's going to stop you, or what's going to help you get there?
Well, as soon as I can afford a giant scale airplane, I'm going to start going to bigger competitions.
Okay, I see.
Flying.
What? So you're working now, then?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do you do?
I'm still in high school. I'm a junior this year.
Okay.
And so, just school.
So, like,
and
are
everything.
you working at school, or you just
I'm doing a little bit of work,
like
but
chores and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Getting money the normal kid way.
Yeah. Well, I'm worked this summer, and then when school started, I couldn't really work as much because school is really busy.
Yeah, junior's a pretty heavy load usually.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. All right, well, cool. So you started 4 years ago, so that means you were just not a freshman, just getting out of 8th grade, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were talking, we have a pretty wide audience, it's worldwide, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
If you were talking to somebody, they were asking you questions about what you would do or how you would get started, what would you tell them?
I would say go on the internet and start watching flight test videos. Go experiment building with the flight test foam board and practice flying the phone simulators that you can download on your phone. There's one that's really good. It's called the Absolute RC Sim.
Okay.
And I did that for a little bit just to kind of get the sticks. But the computer simulators are really good, but they're kind of also expensive.
Yeah,
so.
I see. Cool. So you actually did simulation on your phone. So like, I'm an old guy, so I don't really look for apps to do that kind of stuff. So you like the phone simulator? Like, do you feel like it's still realistic, or
it's somewhat
like, do you use
realistic.
your thumbs to make it work, or is it
Yeah,
more
you use your
tilting?
thumbs.
Okay.
Use your thumbs. It has on-screen sticks,
yeah.
but it just gives you the basic feel of how the airplane
I
works.
see. So it's not like
It's not completely realistic, but it feels pretty good.
like if you only did that, do you think you could transition from only doing that to actually flying the plane?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, if you did that for a little bit and got good at
Like
taking off
landing
and
the plane, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually harder on the simulator because the sticks aren't
Reactive enough?
Yeah, you can't feel the sticks, so
Yeah.
you don't know where the center point is.
That's a good
but
point.
It does give you enough to steer it
The
around.
dynamics and stuff of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's fairly realistic? I mean, like...
Yeah, it's pretty realistic. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I've flown the computer ones, and those are, there's good to bad on those as well.
Yeah.
But I never tried the foam one. I'll have to check that out.
Yep.
Try it for myself. Cool. Do you have anything else you want to share? Or something that you were thinking about that maybe we should talk about?
No, just go out and have fun.
Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate you taking the time.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're back, and I am here talking to Mike Smith. Now, Mike, I just met you today,
right?
So I don't know much about you. I know your name, I guess. It's a good name. I like it. Mike, one of our other co-hosts, will also like it. So
wow.
It would be too bad that he's not here, because then we could be the three mics and
that'd be
and
rad.
then at the end we could do a mic drop. And we call
literally.
it good. Yeah, literally. And so anyway, so I don't know much about you. So why don't you tell me about yourself?
Where do you want me to start?
Well,
go way back, or just start with the hobby?
Start when you got into the hobby.
So about 9 years ago,
okay,
I actually started flying control line as a kid.
Control line, wow.
Kind of took a break from that, and my upraising was mechanics and racing cars and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
Then about 9 years ago, made a flip and started flying planes, and I never looked back.
So, like, just randomly had an itch and started flying, or
so what? I was. Now my wife, we were just dating at the time, and we were going to eat. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so we were sitting at a stoplight and going to Texas Roadhouse, and I looked over in a shopping center and I saw a hobby shop and kind of was like, I'm kind of wanting to get back into that. And so she said, "Go."
Is that Plano or
it was
like
A1? It was A1 Hobby.
Yeah,
off of Peachtree and Crossroad.
Yeah. Okay.
So I walked in there and I walked out with a little Park Zone J3 Cub.
Okay. Nice choice, really.
Yeah, it flew great. Still own it. Still have
really?
it.
No kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so you didn't crash it in the ground first time?
No, I didn't. My first flight with that was actually I bought 2 batteries from Paul and went out to a parking lot.
A parking lot?
Yeah, it was a stadium parking lot over in Garland-Williams Stadium parking lot.
All right.
And I taxied a whole battery.
That's a good idea.
And I'm like...
What made you decide to do that?
Well, it's because I was too scared to fly.
Okay, fair enough.
Never flew anything that I wasn't attached to a string.
Yeah.
So I put the second battery in, and I was doing the same thing. I was just taxiing around, and And it kind of clicked. I'm like, well, this is the only battery I have. And I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to do this. So I went ahead and rolled in the throttle and took off. And it took off all nice and gentle. And I was instantly hooked.
Yeah, imagine.
Instantly.
Well, especially since you just did all that yourself.
And so I was flying around in a circle, naturally. And it was just a 3-channel. There was no ailerons.
Right.
And I'm, all beside myself, like, oh my God, I'm flying. This is such a great feeling. And then it clicked that I had to land it.
I was just going to ask you, like, when did you figure that out?
So, here I am. I'm a complete rookie. Yeah. I have no timer set up. I have no nothing.
So you haven't had any, wait. You haven't had any kind of simulation? You haven't had
No, I didn't even know about the
simulator. So the only flying that you've ever done was control flying?
Yeah.
Control line.
Control line.
So you knew about flight surfaces at least.
Right, yeah. To go back a little bit, my biological father was an A&P mechanic and was around airplanes. My stepfather was the automotive mechanic, and we built race cars and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I really only got the airplane thing on the weekends when I was with my dad.
Makes sense.
And then all the other time, it was just racing cars and making things go fast.
Sure.
And as I got older, I just naturally followed that following my stepdad's footsteps.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I got the little Park Zone
Cub.
J3
Okay, so you're flying, you realize you have to land, and
right.
What happens?
So I circle it around, and I just kind of go back to like the full scale, the downwind leg, and the turn.
Wait. So you flown full scale at this point?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, that changes things for me.
So
okay.
So I kind of go back to that, and I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna do it, and I came in, and it just touched down and rolled out, and man, that was. That feeling was...
That's actually a pretty cool story. Because basically you're just talking yourself through on a full-scale mindset, trying to put this thing down on the ground.
Right.
Holy crap. That's awesome.
Right.
That's really great.
And so the next week rocks along, and I went back up to A1 Hobby, and I was like, Paul, I want something bigger. So he
just bought one.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. I wanted ailerons at this point.
Yeah.
So he had a Great Plains Nexstar.
Okay, that's
little
a good
trainer plane.
That's a good
it
plane
was
too.
His personal plane. It was hanging up in his little build room that he used to have, and I was like, "How much you want for that?" And he was like, "Man, Mike, that thing hadn't ran in years." And I said, "Well, how much you want for it?"
Was that a glow?
Yeah. It had a little OS 46 on it.
Okay.
And so $150 later, I walk out with that.
And your wife is like, what did I do?
Not yet.
Okay, not
yet. No, that hasn't
happened.
That hasn't happened yet. And so and at this point I'm like, okay, well I can't just go out to a parking lot and fly this thing. So I find a flying field, which is in Seagoville, Dallas RC Club.
Good.
And I go out there and I meet this guy named Jeff Sykes.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, are you new? I was like, yeah, I've only been flying a week. He's like, well, are you AMA? And I'm like, no, not yet. I don't even know nothing about it. So we go through the whole spiel, and he's like, well, I'm a buddy box you just because you can't solo, without AMA. And I was like, cool. So we take off, and I fly a flight with it, first flight on it. Everything went really well. Come in and land, and he was like, dude, you don't need me. So go home tonight, get your AMA, and you're good to go. So I went home that night, got the AMA. Sunday, went and flew all day. Had my first dead stick. All that fun stuff.
Awesome. All right, great.
So then a guy was selling an AeroWorks Yak 54.
Okay.
With a DLE 55 on the front of it.
Not bad.
High-tech 7955 servos. Your standard run-of-the-mill stuff.
So you're an addict at this point.
8 years ago,
Yeah, you're like an addict.
And he says, I'll sell it to you for $1,000.
$1,000?
And I'm like, dang, man, I don't got $1,000, so what can I do? So I went home and I sold my race car.
You had a race car?
Yeah. So I stripped the motor and transmission out of it. I sold the car.
Yeah.
And that took like a week and a half or so to accomplish that. And
it's like all this time you're thinking about this guy's plane.
Yeah.
Taking out the engine. That's just a pain in the ass, but I'm gonna go ahead.
Yeah, like I vividly remember like really not caring about the car anymore at this.
God.
And I was literally just like bolts flying everywhere. I was just dropping stuff on the ground.
That's exactly what I was
just need to get the motor out of this thing
as fast as I can.
Because that was a whole nother sell that I could make.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, and that in particular guy, as I was flying that Nexstar, he said, "This is the most fun that you'll ever have in this hobby." Okay, I turn around and I look behind us, and he's got this trailer and it's full of 100cc planes, and I'm like, okay. Yeah, whatever. But he was right. learning to fly was the
most
funnest part of it, and getting to know people,
Sure.
being around people,
Sure.
making friends,
Sure.
laughing, gutting up, and somebody breaks props and has, So early on, I was extremely hooked, And so as time went on, I took a break from flying, and started racing RC cars.
Okay.
That turned into a full-time job. Like literally, I quit my job as a mechanic.
Oh, cool.
Went to work at the hobby shop, which is NDRC World up in Garland.
Okay.
I quit my job, my career, and pursued this. So I raced cars for 4 years, and then I come back to planes, and now I do both.
What would you say from I'm a plane guy. Well, mostly we talk about planes, but I mean RC's RC, and so I want to promote the hobby in general. What would you say is like the main difference? I mean, other than it's on the ground, between I think it's more. I'm asking about a maintenance aspect of it.
As with anything, it's all of what you make it.
Yeah.
If you want to start playing on that higher level and traveling around doing big races and stuff like that, the maintenance of the cars is through the roof.
Yeah, so it's like a lot bigger of a deal.
Yeah, you're looking for an 8-scale nitro buggy to walk out of the door with all good equipment. Your start of everything that you need to go racing. You're at about $1,700 to $1,800.
Wow.
But when you start thinking, you got $500 engines, little bitty .21 race engines, $500.
Jesus.
$80 for a set of tires.
Yeah, that's real money.
You pay your guy to paint you a nice body up. That's $120. Yeah.
I'll have to keep that in mind. I'm just starting to do some airbrushing right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a little market for that if you get good at it.
Right.
So
something to think about.
So with the maintenance difference between the planes and the cars is not even on the same.
Yeah, they're a different scale.
I tell that to some of the car guys.
Yeah.
Because they look at the planes as I'm building them, because I build the planes up there at the shop.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, that's just so much money. And I'm like, right, but how much money have you spent going racing this year?
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's easy to come to the numbers.
Yeah.
All right, so then the question, and I know Mike would want me to ask this of you, is when are you going to fly turbine?
Never.
What?
There's this thing with me and turbine. Like, I've always been a piston guy.
All right, fair enough.
I've never really been big into jets, and so therefore I never really had the urge to want to do that.
Yep. I don't.
I think that they're cool? Absolutely.
I don't think I've seen a 3D jet yet. That would be something, right? I've seen hoverboards, and I've seen some other stuff like that. But
QQ Simonzini has an F-16 that's a 3D jet.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't seen that.
There's nothing that racks my brain more than thrust coming out of the back of a plane and it's standing straight up and down.
Watching it be 3D.
Yeah,
that's just crazy.
So can't really wrap my mind around that.
I realize that it's harder to do that because with the power plane, you basically have instant power when you
pretty
need
much,
it.
yeah.
And with the turbine, it's a spool up situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess they're on a whole different level.
Yeah, it's a whole different level. Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Not a problem.
I did want to ask you one thing. Now, you've been doing this for a while. Have you competed?
Yes.
And then do you have any awards that you want to care to talk about?
Yeah. I've got some freestyle trophies from. I started out doing IMAC.
Okay.
2 years ago, I came out here to fly, and these guys were doing it, and nobody knew nothing about it. That was on a Wednesday, and then Friday morning, I get up at 5 a.m. I drive to Arkansas and do my first contest, and got third.
Nice.
Got third. So that kind of sparked a new interest, and I started kind of traveling around doing that. I was sponsored through my the shop that I work at.
Yeah. Right.
And then I don't really know what happened. It was just like this season came around. This season that we're finishing up right now, actually, and I was just like, I don't think I want to do it. I just want to go back to having fun.
And
it was fun, and I met a lot of awesome people.
Yeah, sure.
And sometimes I would literally just go just for that,
just to meet the people.
So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like the people part of it. I like flying too, but I'm not nearly as good as you.
The competition side of it, naturally, it was fun when I was kind of learning it and learning the ropes, and it was the same thing with the cars when I was racing the RC cars. And then once you're kind of around, I don't know, competition doesn't make friends.
Yeah, that's true.
And it does, but it's just a lot harder.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you can only get so close to your competition, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, again, thanks so much
Yes,
for
sir.
coming to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
I'll talk to you later. Okay, we're back, and I'm talking with Jonathan Jennings. Now, all I know is I've seen you fly, and that you're really good. and then there were other people around me that said, "Oh yeah, talk to Jonathan too." So, I don't know much about 3D flying and the people involved. So tell me about yourself.
Well, obviously, name's Jonathan. I'm from Arlington, Texas. I'm 23 years old. Been flying for 13 years now. 3D. I soloed a trainer when I was 7 or 8.
Wow.
Been competing for about 13 years.
Competing.
Wow. So yeah.
Since you were 10 or
yeah.
so. Holy crap.
My first actual 3D competition was when I was 11.
Wow.
I was 11.
How'd you do it as an 11-year-old?
Obviously not so good. I'm competing against people who's been flying for a while, but you start to talk to these guys and you get experience. You practice, and at 13, I competed in another contest and I got 3rd.
Wow.
So
you went from whatever to 3rd. That's not bad.
Yeah.
So that must have been like the encouraging moment for you.
Yeah, that really put a damper on, like, that really secured my 3D flying,
Sure.
And we got we got some info on how to become a smoother pilot.
A smoother pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
and
freestyle.
Where did that come from?
IMAC.
Okay.
So IMAC is just like a full scale.
Yep.
Where they compete and they do the lines in the sky.
Right.
So IMAC is there's multiple classes, and you start from basic, and then you go up to invitational.
Right.
There's so many classes you work up.
Sure.
You can move up each year, every other year, depending on how you're feeling.
Sure.
And once you learn IMAC, you really become a smooth pilot. When I say smooth, I'm saying, so if you do a slow roll down the runway, it's a straight line with a roll down the runway as far as you can go.
Right.
No deviations.
Right.
No ups, no downs.
Basically full control of the aircraft.
Yeah. You hit every point. You do a 4-point. Every point's on a 90.
Uh-huh.
You do a snap roll. Snap roll is wing level to wing level. It really conditions your brain to thinking, okay, when do I need to stop this snap? When do I need to stop the roll?
Sure.
When this, when that.
And how do I anticipate this? What do I do if this happens?
So, in order to compete in today's world, that's what judges look for. It's not so much as, oh man, look at that move, or how low you can get. It's how smooth is he, and how is he integrating that smoothness into his
next move or whatever.
Into his routine.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
that's neat. So, so you've only flown through 3D, you haven't flown any other kind of craft?
I have flown a little bit of indoor pattern with foamies.
Indoor pattern, okay.
Yeah.
Is that a whole different thing? Do you feel
it is?
Yeah.
Oh, it's way different.
Is it because they're so much lighter, or what is it?
It's not nearly the amount of room. It's totally different. Just I really don't know how to explain it.
That's fair.
I haven't done it in a long time.
Okay.
But so you're taking a piece of paper and you're making it fly. That's literally what I could see how I can explain this.
Sure.
It's a piece of paper with a motor and a couple of sticks.
And you're flying it around in control.
Yeah. These things are so light, you touch it, they break.
Yeah, sure.
But it's a whole nother level of brain conditioning.
So I was talking with someone who didn't really know much about flying in general, and they were asking me questions like, well, gosh, they must ruin a lot of planes, learning how to fly. And so my response to him was, well, probably they're using simulators and crashing simulators. Would you say that was the case for you, or did you crash a few big planes first and then decide? Okay.
The simulator is the exact answer. When I was younger, I was on that simulator 24/7.
Really?
Didn't matter what time of day, when, what day, what time. It did not matter. I was on that simulator. That was my life.
So you did it right away when you were 11, or like as an 11-year-old, were you like, I don't really want to play at the simulator right now? Or
when I was, so I think I got a simulator when I was 10.
Okay. So your dad basically made you fly
yeah,
simulator first?
kinda. When I was 7 or 8, you could buddy box, but we didn't do that. He flew and he introduced me to it. And
right.
I had a little Tiger 2000 trainer, and I soloed that. I would land it, take off, and do a couple laps, and I was done. And about when I was 10, he got me a simulator, and that instantly just got me hooked.
Well, and clearly it had an impact on your skill set because from 11 to 13, you went from back of the pack to third.
You learn so much. The simulator helps you so much. It's crazy how fast people learn this hobby in today's flying style.
Sure.
It's crazy fast.
Watching YouTube, whatever the different ways that they pick up that stuff.
With today's flying style, you pick it up so fast that I know a guy who's been flying for give or take 5 years.
Okay.
And
he's flying right now.
Yeah. And that in 5 years you can see he's
not
matching.
Not too shabby.
He's matching me. He got into IMAC. When he first started, he wasn't smooth.
Yeah.
But now he's one of the smoothest pilots in today's flying
that's pretty
competitions.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So
he's doing some pretty impressive stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's good stuff.
You learn really quick on a simulator.
So just in RC in general, like this is called the Park Flyer Podcast. And
okay.
So we started out with the idea we're just going to cover Park Flyer stuff, and we did a lot of model foam building, basically, talking about some of the planes that you did indoors. But we've kind of branched out to, we talk about turbine, we talk about, I'm here at the 3D Huckfest, and what would you tell someone just getting started? You get maybe some 11-year-olds listen to it, or maybe some 9-year-olds listen to it, and he wants to get started in the hobby. What would you tell them?
Get a simulator and get a foamy.
Get a foamy.
Yeah. So there's Twisted Hobbies.
Yeah, they have some good stuff. You're right.
There's a new company. One of my best friends in the RC industry. His name is Jace Ducia.
Okay.
He's probably the best RC pilot in the world.
Really?
He just came out with a foamy company called JTA. JTA.
All right. Well, I'm gonna look it up.
JTA, and so he's got a Yak 54. He's got a Game Bird, and he just came out with an MXS.
Okay.
So, and these are 30-inch wingspans. They're pretty big foamies.
Okay.
And I would suggest looking into Twisted Hobbies or JTA. Start getting a foamy, learning a foamy, go in your backyard, and definitely a simulator.
If I went in my backyard, I'd end up in a tree. But I get what you're saying.
That usually happens.
Yeah, I mean, in Texas, your backyard's a little bit bigger in most cases, but not everywhere.
Yeah, when I first started, I actually had what was it? It was an outdoor flyer. It was a park flyer.
Yeah, right.
It was a park flyer.
Something you fly outdoors. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a Red Baron foamy aluminum stick plane.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I had one of those,
That's
and I started out with that.
That's great.
And then I got on the simulator.
Is it like a slow stick or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a little aluminum stick, foam.
Yep. That's great.
Good to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. I really appreciate taking time to talk with me.
Of course.
And I'm looking forward to watching some more flying.
For sure.
Talk to you later.
All right, cool.
All right, bye. I'm sitting in the car with John Jennings, not to be confused with Jonathan, who's the younger. So, John, I met you out there on the tarmac there, and you said something to me that kind of caught my interest, but I don't want to sort of jump to the end. I kind of like to start at the beginning. So tell me a little bit about yourself, and you're obviously Jonathan's father. So tell me about your start. Like you've been flying for a while.
Okay, sure, yeah. I grew up by Carswell Air Force Base and just always loved airplanes. Just loved to watch them fly. And then I had a neighbor that introduced me and my dad into control line when I think I was 12 years old.
Right.
So we started flying U-control or line control. And then the neighbor got into RC and introduced us to RC. And then so my dad and I learned to fly RC, learned to build our own planes.
So your dad was an RC pilot too?
Yes.
Holy shit.
So Jonathan is third generation now.
So his name is John as well?
No, my daddy's name is Jed.
Okay,
So,
all right. Well, I thought we had some going there. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. And so, then over the years, the hobby is kind of involved, the technology, and we used to build all of our own planes. And then we started getting up into the 90s, about 2000, and the ARF, which is almost ready to fly, the planes are pre-manufactured, and they've come a long, long way since. Back in the days of building, or even the early ARFs, there wasn't much quality to them. But now they're just nobody can build like these ARFs.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So let me ask you a question: when you were flying RC, what kind of radio did you have?
Okay, back in the day, we had Kraft and Futaba.
Okay,
and EK.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh. And now it's pretty much
Conquest. You were using flying Conquest at that point, or was that before even Conquest?
Conquest.
I mean, I'm not trying to say you're an old guy or anything, but
I remember the Conquest. I can't remember which one we had,
Okay.
but we had the EK Nimbus, and there was another one, and then it just kind of evolved after that, And then I was out of the hobby for a few years, and then it came back to me in 1990. And
what brought it back?
When I got my first car, and I kind of got out of the hobby.
That
but a
makes
few
sense.
years later, and I got settled back down, I got back into the hobby.
Okay.
And then I got Futaba, got back in, and was still building my planes about 1990. And then I started accumulating bigger airplanes, bigger engines. We were still flying glow fuel. And in about 2002 or 3, the hobby kind of started going towards gas and the bigger giant
the
scale.
DLE stuff is really nice.
Yeah. So, I got into the gas, and then I was introduced. I started going to events, and then I was introduced to a show team that flew at full-scale air shows, that performed at full-scale air shows.
So this is like a group of guys who would travel around or something? Or?
Yes. And so we were on a Texas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana circuit, and we were going just about every weekend to a different airport, at the full-scale air shows and doing RC demos.
They fund your trips, or how does that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We were a non-profit, and we would negotiate a contract with the air show.
Oh.
And they would kind of help us out, and then we also had a sponsorship with a big hobby company. So that helped us guys out to get steep discounts on RC gear, service, things like that. And then our fuel expenses were paid for by our earnings from the show. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically you were consultants, and they paid you for like some set amount that you guys set as a team. So we charge $300 a show, or whatever it was.
It was a negotiated price that and we went to the same shows like yearly.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun.
So you were the noontime show, basically.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so many people
like the
told
Blue
us,
Angels of RC.
Yeah, and so many people would say, "We come here to watch you guys fly RC."
Isn't that cool?
They say, "We love the air show, but we come here to see you guys fly."
That must be a really cool feeling to hear people say that.
That was.
Yeah, that's cool.
Was. Jonathan was very young at the time. He was too young to fly on the show team, but he was starting to fly my big gas airplanes because I had a 40% extra 300, which is a 120-inch wingspan, 150 cc, two-stroke engine.
Right.
And, he starts flying, and all of a sudden, he's passing me up. And I've been flying since I was a kid. So I thought, well, I have something here. My son is really good. I need to get into the competitive side of the hobby. And so we started doing IMAC, which is precision competitions where you fly precision shapes in the sky.
That's a pretty common thread in the conversations I've had today.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that got him his first sponsorship deal, and then more sponsors started coming.
Nice.
We started going to South Carolina, Michigan, Muncie, Indiana at the Extreme Flight Championships where he was competing. He also did fly on the show team once he became of age.
Right.
But then when the show team dissolved, he continued to compete. We continued to travel all over the country. And so my kid's really good. And then I became more of a mechanic, chauffeur, sponsor.
Whatever he needed to be.
Yeah. To
cool.
support him because he was so good. And then, of course, I don't fly anymore. I just support my son. And
Like at all anymore, or only
nah,
occasionally?
Rarely.
Really?
You know, and I used to be a pretty good pilot, but the way these kids fly now, I just can't fly like that.
Well, that
So,
I understand, but you don't take the plane up and just kind of fly around a little bit?
Sometimes, just a little bit.
All right,
It's
all right.
pretty rare occasion. But, my focus has changed now
Well,
that I'm
that makes
older.
sense, though.
But it has been a lifelong hobby. I started when I was young and flew even up, occasionally now.
So we have a pretty wide audience. In fact, it's worldwide. If you were going to say something to somebody just getting into hobby, what would you tell them?
You can go to your local club and things like that and ask questions. People are always friendly and willing to help. And there's flight simulators that you can get. My son lived on the flight simulator for years. He just loved to fly that simulator rather than playing video games. And that's kind of helped him to make him into the pilot that he is today.
Yeah, I imagine it did. Yeah. From the conversations I've had today, time in seems to be relevant to how good they are, whether it's time in actually flying or time in on the simulator.
Now, back when I learned how to fly, they would take the plane, somebody would take it off for you and put it way up in the sky
and then
hand you the transmitter.
Sure.
And then whenever you got the
that's
plane
buddy
into
box at the end of the day, right?
and then when you get into a fit, you'd hand the radio back to him. He would get the plane back under control.
Holy smokes.
And that's the way we learn nowadays. Of course, the buddy box where you have a cord to cord.
Which is not nicer. And, of course, now they have wireless systems, which are even better.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything that you'd like to add to the conversation?
That's it. I'm glad I could... Hoped I answered some questions.
Oh, you did. And
sparked some interest.
No,
and,
I think you will. And,
it's a great hobby. There's a lot of great people. As you see, you come out here. It's,
what was the name of your group of guys? That
Texas Heatwave Aerobatic Show Team, or show team, Texas Heatwave Aerobatic Team.
Okay, so do you guys? Are there multiple show teams out there now?
There used to be, because AMA, which is the insurance for modelers today, AMA. Used to have a show team program, and there were multiple teams throughout the United States.
But now not so
much.
No
longer, yeah.
Because places don't want them, or?
Well, the hobby has changed, and there's always money situations as the hobby changes, and things change in the hobby. So when the AMA used to sponsor this, they also put money out to
I get it
help to promote the AMA, which is the insurance.
Yeah.
And so things change, and the show team program dissolved. But it was a lot of fun while it was there, and I think we reached out and touched a lot of people when we were flying at the events.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that sounds good. Yeah. Well, I appreciate taking the time.
Not a problem. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike. Those guys have presented some amazing talent. I mean, I have a hard time believing that some of those guys have only been flying for 4 years. I guess between 4 and 13 years. That's pretty amazing. And I got to give a shout out to Glenn because of his efforts. I'm a full scale pilot. I'm very familiar with the Young Eagles program, and he's doing a fantastic job with that. So I got to give him kudos. That's amazing.
Yeah, I liked that. I think I said this before, but I'd say it again. The theme that I saw was, there's a good number of father-son teams out doing this sort of thing, and certainly in our group, at the 3D Huckfest, there was at least 3 or 4 that I was aware of. So. Right. And there was a couple, a father and son that were there just watching, which I thought was also cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool.
Yeah. So all in all, though, we had a great time. The weather was reasonable after the rain on Thursday, and the Friday kind of got washed out because of it. But the weather was great on Saturday and Sunday, and had a fantastic time doing it.
And this is the first year that they tried this.
Yeah,
right?
This is the first annual. Yeah, they're going to do this again, I think.
Excellent, man. Oh, I mean, a fantastic performance for their first try. That's only going to get better.
Yeah, especially if the word gets out. I mean, that's the thing. These guys put together something, that should have been 3 days that they kind of condensed into 1 day. But, having Tim there and Rhett there and, these guys, Jonathan and Mike, they obviously have the talent to bring other people in.
Oh yeah.
They also, they were all involved in IMAC, and now they're doing these 3D competitions. And, I like kind of everything that they said about how they got started. It was really kind of cool to hear that. And, that every one of them is like, oh yeah, now we're doing these big events. So I think that if, this goes out to your club, if they're listening, keep up the good work, put on, next year, put it on again. And I think will just get better and better every year. I just, knowing what we know from the Arizona Electric Festival, that thing has become, it's drawing people from all over. I think last year, Mike, you and I met a guy from British Columbia or somewhere that he had come in, he had driven all the way down there to attend. So, I think these guys, if they, if they play their cards right and get some, some advertising out there, and like I said, Tim Hanstein with 3D and with Northwest RC, he came down and he was, gave a lot of praise for the job that they did down there. So.
Oh yeah, it really was well done. They had a catering company that was there to serve the food and stuff. I mean, we didn't really talk about sort of the amenities that were there,
right.
But it's a really nice space. And again, I think if they put it together for next year, which I believe they're going to do, it'll turn out even better than it was.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, is there a town nearby, or what's the biggest town that's close by, or city?
Well,
besides Dallas.
Well, besides Dallas, I mean, what's the closest little town? The reason I'm bringing that up is I'm thinking about Holly Springs.
Oh, right.
They got their local community involved,
right.
And they turned it into the local park, spring, something that's nearby. They can maybe interject or fold in with next year.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Texas seems to be full of little towns everywhere, and so I know that you have to go through the town of Lucas, but I don't know if it's in the town of Lucas, and I don't even know what the population of Lucas is. There's a place called Wiley that's nearby. There's a place called Allen. People have heard of Plano, that's nearby. So it's sort of it's mixed amongst other not so big cities. It's just a really nice spot. It's right out there off the water there. So there's actually some water nearby, and I think it's a Corps of Engineer location. I think the Corps owns that.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh.
Yeah, and so it's a good spot, and they just did a good job, and it's actually very pretty when you go in there too. So, I don't know what else to say about it really.
Well, no, I mean, they could probably get the city of Plano or Wiley or any of those places involved if they wanted to. I mean, they're small enough neighborhoods on the outskirts of Dallas that they could draw a crowd, if they needed to. But I wish them the best of luck. With both of you down in Texas, this may be something that I can hop on. You guys both come out here for the Electric Festival. If next year, if it gets big enough, maybe we could, kind of make a trip down there and kind of hang out with those guys as well.
Sure.
So,
I think that'd be fun.
I had fun at Holly Springs. It was really kind of a quick trip for us, but it was cool. I think that's one of those things that we should look at if it's in your area and kind of go and attend. But
well, it meets our budget requirements. So.
I know it. Maybe we can fix that this year. Well, what are you guys doing for the holidays? They're coming up. I think we got Turkey Days. I mean, I just was looking at our timer and our hour's almost up, but. We got Thanksgiving coming up, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Well, you know what that means, Mike?
What's that?
If Thanksgiving is coming up.
It is coming
it comes
up.
right after Thanksgiving. Up.
Well, I mean, today is the 12th, so Thanksgiving is in, 2 weeks?
Yep.
So
what about that Friday?
Yeah, I was just going to say the reason why Thanksgiving's there is so that you can eat enough to be able to go shopping on Black Friday. I mean, otherwise,
this is true.
I mean, you wouldn't be strong enough to do it. I mean, I think. Anyway.
Yeah, you need your.
Got a good point.
Your what do they say that your strength and stamina.
Stamina. Yeah, you eat around 2 or 3.
For my finger,
take your
going
appropriate
click, click,
nap.
on the
Maybe
mouse.
watch the game a little bit. And then go to bed early so that you can get up early in the morning.
Well, unless you're Jay, then you just get up from the table, waller over to the desk, and then just flop down in front of your computer and start ordering stuff. That's really what he doesn't get out I mean, I don't even know if he put his
It's already in
socks
my
on.
basket. What are you talking about? I just have to, I just wait till the appropriate time, and hopefully I'm saving some money.
You order a lot of stuff when you're on a first name basis with both the FedEx, UPS, and Amazon drivers.
They all get gifts. Of Christmas time.
They like delivering to Jay's house. They're like, "Whoo, look what I got you." That's funny. Well, the exciting thing is, I think we can kind of look at all the one thing I have to put in Jay's corner is that he's very good at finding the sales for Black Friday. So I'm looking forward to that because our next podcast, 2 weeks from today, comes out on the 26th, which is prior to Black Friday. So hopefully we'll have a lot of good sales for you, you listeners about what to go out and get. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah,
I'll try my best.
That'd be good. That'd be good.
Well, I'm excited. Well, Mike, we appreciate you doing such a great job with all the guys there in Texas.
Yay, Mike.
I know that was a short notice. We kind of threw it out towards him to say, hey, go get some interviews. But you did a good job, and we appreciate it. And I'd like to thank I'd like to thank Tim Hanstein for being on our podcast 2 weeks ago, and wish him the best of luck. I know he was down at the AMA Expo in Pomona, California. So he was there, which, that's a pretty quick trip, leaving Texas, going home, and then right down there. And I know they were, from what I saw on his Facebook page, they were doing a really good job.
Okay, so wait, I heard that was the last time that one's going to go on. That one on the west is not going to happen anymore.
Well, they had split it up because it got changed. The venue got changed somehow. And we're going to have to talk to, one of our AMA member guys, one of the directors. I don't know. I don't know how. I didn't get the report on how the attendance was. If they had a really big, huge attendance, maybe they'll do it again. But
no, I mean, it was announced that that's the last one before they even had it.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, like that was the conversation around it. It was like, nope, not having this one anymore.
Well, I know we were talking about it, but I'm not really sure. And maybe they can have enough guys that liked it that they'll try it again. So, but normally they just do one a year. The AMA Expo is once up in Indiana, I think, Muncie or somewhere. But yeah, all right. Well, unfortunately our hour's up, but once again, thanks to you interviewed a lot of Jonathans today. Jonathan, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's true.
Jennings,
it's true.
Mike, Glenn. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with Mike on the Park Flyer podcast. We wish you guys the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you at one of these events, right? And if you decide to travel out, come on out to the Arizona Electric Festival. We'd love to have you. I think we got an episode coming up in the near future with Shannon Gallagher, who's the president of that club. It's putting it on this year. And I know he sent us a message for, hey, we got to get together and chat. If you don't know, the iX20 is now out from Horizon. So take a look at that. I know I'm kind of throwing that out there, but it just got released. Some of the guys at the club were able to demo that this week for us. So it'll be interesting. Stuff, new stuff on the horizon all the time.
Wait, I guess this just shows I'm not following very well. What's the iX20?
That's the new radio from Spectrum.
Transmitter,
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just want to make sure I understood. Okay.
Yep, that's it. I know you're an FR Sky guy, so Spectrum is out of your wheelhouse.
I don't really follow that stuff. Yeah.
I know, but for Jay and I, we're both Spectrum users, so I just thought I'd throw it out there.
All right, fair enough.
So their new 20 channel radio just came out, and it's using the same Android platform that the iX12 was done, but they upgraded some stuff. They've got a lot better,
processor.
Yeah, processors like 2 or 3 times as fast, and they've got some other stuff that they put in there as well.
So does that mean you can upgrade your iX12 to an iX20 by doing a software upgrade?
No,
of course not.
Nope. Good luck. You might try, but I don't think it's going to work. Nope, but it's. I think it just hit the shelves this week, and like I said, I think it's out or pre-order. I think they're already back ordered. They had so many new orders. I think that their shipment got already.
That's good
sold,
to hear.
So that I think
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, it is. I'm interested to see. I didn't grab the first set. A couple of the guys I know, Spencer and Barry, both did. They grabbed one on the first order because they're both DX20 users. So they traded their DX, or they sold their DX20s, and now they're jumping into DX are the iX20s. So we'll have to get a report from those guys and see how they like it.
Yeah, that'd be cool to know.
Let's get some sales going on for our next episode, and we appreciate you guys very much, and looking forward to the upcoming holidays where we can see what new products are coming out.
We should probably title that Plain Broker J or something like that.
Probably so. Hopefully he'll do his due diligence and have some really good sales for us, 'cause he's pretty good about it. I know he's really good about helping me spend my money.
Exactly.
Well, I guess our hour's up, but it's been a great episode so far, and I guess we'll see you in 2 weeks. So from Arizona, I'm Michael.
And from the hills of Texas, I'm Jay.
And this is AK Mike in Texas.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.